Logan Cooley will bring Minnesota its first championship in 20 years.
You are Locked On Golden Gophers.
No matter what we're going to do here, we're just going to keep rowing.
Your daily podcast on the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
However it turns out, we're just going to keep rowing.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
We're just going to keep rowing, and keep rowing.
You're listening to Locked On Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name's Kane Rob, host of the podcast, former collegiate football video coordinator, and recruiting assistant here to talk Golden Gophers with you each and every day of the week. And we have a team, folks, right now that is headed to the national championship when it comes to hockey. And Logan Cooley is going to ensure that this team wins its first championship in 20 years. And why is that going to happen? Well, there's three main reasons. He can't be tamed. He's a triple threat on the ice, and he will not allow his team to feel heartbreak twice in one season. Now, this episode today is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started today. But let's talk about point number one of his talent cannot be tamed, because, that could be a little bit general for folks. Of course he's talented. What do you mean? Well, Logan Cooley is on a planet of his own sometimes in this world of college hockey. So Logan Cooley on his own team, on a team that maybe doesn't have star caliber players, would already be a problem for other teams. He would be a hassle. He would be a guy that gets a lot of points still, even as a true freshman playing with other moderate players that maybe would get to the AHL, maybe spend a lot of their time in that Canada Hockey League. But no, he's playing with some of the best players in the country as well. So it makes him an absolute problem when he is paired with his line mates currently in Matthew Knies and Jimmy Snuggerud, who are both top players in the country. One of them is also a Hobey Baker finalist along with Logan Cooley. You put that together with Logan Cooley, and all of a sudden you're talking about, it makes it so hard to defend. Not impossible, because we've seen the Gophers drop a few games here and there, but it makes it extremely difficult. And the team that has given them the most problems this year is Michigan. Now, Michigan officially just lost to Quinnipiac, and Quinnipiac, we still don't know a whole lot about them, but they beat Michigan, so we can't discredit them at all. It's going to be one heck of a championship game. Now, like I said, Logan Cooley on his own would be a problem, but he has those teammates. So even if you do focus on solely taking out Logan Cooley, solely being like, we got to throw two bodies at him every time he touches the puck, we got to strategize to strictly take away Logan Cooley and make the other folks beat us, well, that is perfectly fine, because he has two lethal players that he will be willing and able to set up in Jimmy Snuggerud, who also has above 50 points as a true freshman, and Matthew Knies, who is seen as one of the most complete players in the college hockey space right now. And you're talking about both of those guys have second most goals on this Minnesota Golden Gophers team. So they hold their own, and they are top quality in their own right. So think of like a star wide receiver in football. Think of like a Justin Jefferson or a Devontae Adams. I know we probably got a mixture of Vikings fans and Packer fans that listen to this show. So think about those two wide receivers. When they aren't given double coverage, when they aren't given safety help, when they aren't played on in a strategic manner, then they absolutely light you up. They have a field day with you, and they take over, and there's not much you can do. They're going to probably walk away with 100 plus yards and a touchdown, maybe two. That is the caliber of play that Logan Cooley has. That is what it looks like. But then you add in his teammates, his top teammates, and if they try to strategically take him out, that's when you're seeing an Adam Thielen step up to the plate and get more touchdowns and 800 yards, even being at a higher level or a higher age in the NFL. That's when you see guys like Alan Lazard popping up from undrafted to nowhere and stepping up and being a huge player, a huge asset for the Green Bay Packers, because he's wide open and has the opportunity. Or Robert Tonyan at the time, who was getting 8 to 10 touchdowns in a season because everybody's trying to double team Devontae Adams, and it leaves him wide open up the seam. That is the same process, same thought process here. If you try to take Logan Cooley away, he's still going to find a way to get his. He's still going to get a touchdown or a goal or an assist or something here. But if you try to throw everything at him, he's going to set those other players up for major success and they'll pick you apart. So that is reason number one of why it's so difficult and why Logan Cooley will bring a championship here, because his talent just cannot be tamed. And it's probably also a huge reason on why he will likely be headed straight to the NHL after this freshman season. But it's not just his line mates on the ice which make Cooley a problem for his opponents. He was in fact the number 3 pick overall in the NHL for a reason. But his triple threat ability on the ice is the aspect of his game that we now see he should have been maybe number 1 in the NHL draft. But what does that triple threat mean, and why will it lead to the national championship? That's what we're talking about coming up next. But before we do that, we have to talk about our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, and they've got an awesome deal going for you if you are a new customer, where you can sign up at FanDuel.com/lockedon, and you can take advantage of a no sweat first bet. And what that means is if you win, you win on your first bet. That's great. You're a winner. And if you lose on your first bet, it is no sweat at all, because you have up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. And so you can take advantage and feel like a winner either way. All you have to do again is go to FanDuelSportsbook.com/FanDuel.com/lockedon. And let's talk about this NCAA hockey tournament championship game, because they have it over on FanDuel, and the Gophers are favored by 1.5. That's right, the Gophers are favored by 1.5 goals against Quinnipiac. And you know what? If you're all over that, you think, look, the Gophers have won by a ton in all of these games. You're talking about like I can't remember, 9-2 game in the first one, 4-2 in the second one, and 6-2 in the third one. Look, all of those games have been more than 2 goals. So that number looks very enticing with a team that is the best in the nation, straight up. So it's time for them to prove it, and it's time for you to take advantage of that line over at FanDuel. Again, take advantage of the no sweat first bet. FanDuel.com/lockedon today. All right, Gophers fans, thank you so much for making Locked On Golden Gophers your first listen when it comes to Gophers daily sports. Now we're stepping into reason number 2 on why Logan Cooley is going to bring a championship to the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And the second reason is, we talked about it a little bit, he is a triple threat on the ice. But what does that mean? Well, the first part of that triple threat is that he is a goal scorer. His goal scoring presence is up there with some of the best in the entire country. In fact, the aggression that he brings, the will to go out there and score, the no fear and hesitation at all to attempt things like a Michigan or a sneaky goal here and there, the creativity that he has on the ice, the speed that he skates with, all of it put together, and then you add it with precision and intentionality. That is what makes him such a weapon when it comes to scoring. Now, in the matchup versus Boston yesterday, he led the team with 2 official goals, and well, he tied. Him and Middlestat both had 2 goals. But what I'm saying is he got 2 goals in that game, and it ended up pushing him to the top of the Gophers roster. And as far as leaders in goals this season, he passed his line mates Jimmy Snuggerud and Matthew Nyes. Both of those 2 have 21 goals on the season, and now Logan Cooley has 22. So it's the most goals scored on this Gophers roster. Now, that threat to score makes him a hassle to account for the defenses out there. But even if you aim to slow him down or slow his goal scoring down, it leads to aspect of number 2 of the triple threat, in which his vision and passing ability. Because you see, Cooley is like a point guard out there on the ice, and he is always willing to set up his teammate for an assist. And it isn't a me factor when it comes to Logan Cooley. And you don't see that all the time from a top pick like Logan Cooley, but his unselfishness to lead his team, it's led his team to 38 assists, a team leading number again. So he leads in goals with 22 goals. He leads in assists with 38 assists. And that is 9 more than the next person on that list in Jimmy Snuggerud, who has 29 overall in second place on the team. So 38 assists, and his 2 line mates are tied for second most in goals. So that shows alone that he is really out there setting it up and making it an absolute danger zone for these defenses. And he can't be stopped. I'm sorry, he can't be. The skating, the assist, the unselfishness, the ability to go and get your own. That's two. Okay, we're talking two parts of the triple threat. What is the third part? We're going to get there, but you're talking about a guy who has 60 points. Yes, 60 total points in the NCAA college hockey in 38 games as a true freshman. That's second in the entire nation in points. So you've got a guy who's second in the nation in total points, tied for first in the nation in total assists, and fourth in the nation in goals scored. Now, looking at those numbers, he could still get higher on those lists because if he has a massive championship game, which I think he's going to bring his best in this one, he could climb to first in total points scored. He could climb to solely first in assists, and he could climb to third in goals scored. But I believe he could also wrap up the Hobie Baker with all of that as well. But that third aspect of the triple threat that we have to dive into is toughness and fire. And this is the aspect of the triple threat that you don't see many top picks having. They maybe avoid it in the college hockey landscape because you don't want to get injured. You don't want to be caught up in too much stuff where you could put your body at risk being a guaranteed payday is coming your way in the NHL. But Logan Cooley, if you are out there and you are watching this game, Cooley doesn't take crap from anyone on the ice. You see a big hit, it's probably Cooley. You see a skirmish on the ice, Cooley's in there somewhere. You see someone chirping on the ice, talking crap, it is probably Cooley once again. He's a physical player. He sets the tone, even being small in stature and height. He doesn't care. He wants all the smoke, and he is in there ready to go at it for his teammates and show, look, I am that guy. I am the best player in college hockey. Fantilli? Nah. My teammate Nyes? Look, much love to him, but nah, it's me. It's Cooley. And so that is what I have been pleasantly surprised with Logan Cooley by that aspect this season. And it's why I truly believe he's a balanced threat. He is a triple threat, and it is all going to lead to a championship for this for this Gophers team in the Natty. Now, you've got a talented surrounding cast. We've talked about that. You've got the triple threat ability, but none of it is more important than the final reasoning on why Cooley will bring back a title to Dinkytown, and that is pain. Yes, pain. And we're closing with that next. All right, Gophers fans, I mentioned that pain is the third reason in which Cooley is going to go out there and he will win this team a national championship, the first in 20 years. And that's because heartbreak leads to fire. Pain leads to pushing through, grit, determination, a promise to oneself to never feel or let their teammates feel that way again. And I saw that in person from Cooley on home ice in 3M Mariucci Arena, watching Michigan celebrate the Big Ten tournament championship on his ice. I saw his teammates hurting. I saw the feeling of letting down the city, his brothers, and himself. I saw it all with him sitting there hunched over on the ice watching Michigan celebrate. I saw all of that 5 rows away. And in that moment, I looked at my wife and I literally said, this is going to be good for them. This is going to be good for this team. That loss added fuel to the fire. That loss showed them exactly what that misery, that pain, that terrible gut-wrenching feeling feels like. That was one of the goals of this season, and it was gone. But the real goal was still at hand with the national championship, and that bitter taste made this team push harder, and you've seen that throughout this entire tournament so far. And the look that I saw from Logan Cooley, the body language of anguish, it told me all I needed to know, that will not happen again. Now, college is unlike the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, all those pro sports, because you don't get to feel that feeling until you've lost your chance at a national championship, a world championship. You think of Steph Diggs losing to the Chiefs and he stayed on and watched them celebrate because he never wanted to feel that way again. You think of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown feeling the anguish of the Warriors winning on their home court, and that lit their fire for this upcoming season because they don't want to lose a championship. They got all the way there and they lost it right then and there. And that feeling, that hate, that desire just being punched in your stomach, They all talk about it, but they have to wait a year to get back to that point. They have to push through an entire season to get back to that point. But that is what college sports is different, because the Gophers got to feel that gut punch in the Big Ten tournament for a championship of their conference. They got to feel that experience early, and now they can use that as a fire to push them to a national championship in less than a month after, or a month and a half after. That is what hits different, and that, paired with everything we've discussed about, that is exactly why Logan Cooley and this Gophers team are going to win the Natty in Dinkytown. Logan Cooley is going to be a major catalyst, freshman phenom, magic on the ice, Hobie Baker, and national championship. Speak it into existence, because all of that is coming for Minnesota, and we will be watching. Everyone in the state will be watching and will be ready. So look out, because Logan Cooley is bringing that title to Dinkytown. This is Kane Rob signing off on the Golden Gopher podcast. Now, our next show, we're going to talk about the top 5 receivers in Minnesota Gophers history and who could be on the verge. And then we're also going to break into, not in the next show, but the show after that, we're going to break into some more topics out there. We're going to have some interesting ones next week. So we got the top 5 receiver show. We're going to talk about Jamison Battle transferring to Ohio State. We're going to talk about is college basketball being shaken and turned on its head when it comes to this transfer game? And then also the underrated, undervalued guys, prospects that Coach Fleck has brought in and developed into some studs. We're going to talk about all of that next week, so you do not want to miss it. Hit subscribe on YouTube, and we're going to have some fun with this one. Row the boat, Sky Ma.